let's get to the other game in your Indianapolis Colts. Look, I have a ticket on both these teams, Indianapolis and the ATL, to win the division. I cannot believe the one that might be more live with 3 games to play could be the Colts.
Yeah, I can't believe it either as a longtime Colts fan and former season ticket holder as well.
Did anybody, I don't know that we saw this coming. Look, the handicap in the summertime was Gardner Minshew, I thought was going to be playing, and Anthony Richardson. We'll figure out what his scenario is. They didn't do that. They went to Anthony Richardson. He basically got knocked out before the season ever began. So we'll find out what he is next year. Do we know what Gardner Minshew is now at this juncture of the season? Because he looks like, at least against the Steelers, he played the most complete game that he's had this year.
Yeah, he did. Didn't turn the ball over. 18 to 28, 215, 3 touchdowns. And look, had to do it with the injured roster. Michael Pittman, it looks like he's going to be okay, but he had to leave the game. Yep. The Colts' leading receiver.
No Jonathan Taylor again?
No Jonathan Taylor. Zach Moss got hurt. So you had Trey Sermon.
Who? Ohio State back in the house?
Yes, you had Trey Sermon and Tyler Goodson.
From Iowa, just called up from the practice squad.
Undrafted, coming up from the practice squad, who combined for 28 carries for 157 yards in that game. You have the Colts playing these guys. DJ Montgomery, another one at receiver, undrafted kid out of Austin Peay. Hadn't played in the league since 2001.
Wow.
So you're calling these guys up, and they're winning games for you. And
big games.
Yes.
Important games here down the stretch. And so I look at it, and now the Falcons, who opened as a favorite in this game, they flipped to the dog as at home. So now the Colts are a road favorite at 1.5.
Mm-hmm.
Totals crept up just a little bit, 44.5. It's so weird because I said to you earlier in the program, don't let me bet the Falcons again. But now it feels like a spot I might actually want to get behind.
Yeah, it kind of feels like that way for me too.
Right.
Certainly a teaser would be an option up to 8 because it is 2 pretty much all across the board in the market. Couple 1.5s out there as well. But
good Lord, man,
Indianapolis. You wonder when they're finally, because they've been living a little bit lucky. I'll admit that even as a Colts fan. They have been living a little bit lucky here, winning very close games. And, they're going to lose one of these games that you think that they should win.
But they're all winnable for them down the stretch.
But they didn't. Like I said a couple weeks ago, they're all winnable or they're all losable. They ended up winning in overtime against Tennessee. The game against Pittsburgh, they get down 13-0, and then they go on a 30-0 run here. Did get Grover Stewart back, who's their main run stopper last week with the suspension. He had a half sack to Forrest Buckner. They had 4 sacks on Trubisky. So this Colts team, there's some belief here with this team, but I think this is a little bit of a tricky spot here. And, this might be a buy low on Atlanta because it's like this team got whacked, or not whacked. It was 9-7.
Mm-hmm.
But this team got beat by the worst team in the NFL. A team that the Colts beat by 14 earlier this year, even though it was 2 pick sixes, and that was a deceiving final score. I'd wait a little bit. I think the Colts may get bet off that bad Atlanta performance. I think maybe this is the last time. Maybe this is your final straw, Dave, on going back with the ATL against the Indianapolis Colts.
And I'll just say this, again, we'll wrap up the Sunday night game once it's officially final, but if it holds and Indianapolis is tied with Jacksonville with 3 games to go, but Jacksonville has the game in hand because they won both those games in the regular season, Jacksonville's schedule, quote-unquote, gets easier. At Tampa Bay, then at home against the Panthers, and then at the Titans to wrap up the season. So you could be in a dead heat with Houston, Indianapolis, and Jacksonville in the final 3 games of the regular season. Nobody saw that coming.
No, they did not, as Tennessee is a distant 4th right now. But you look at Houston's schedule, Cleveland at home, Tennessee at home, and then at Indy. So about the same strength of schedule for these teams. This is certainly a more competitive AFC South than I thought it was going to be.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.